Tessa Osilia there, well, for some insight on the EU summit. I'm joined by Paul Nuttall. He's a member of the European Parliament from the UK Independence Party. EU leaders are looking for ways to boost jobs and restore economic growth. Well, how do you achieve growth alongside austerity measures, which surely hamper growth, don't they?
Well, the fact is you can't. I mean, it's as simple as that, really, and what's going on in there at the moment is smoke and mirrors. They're trying to put a lot of pressure on Greece, and this idea that the Germans have, that you can almost put a budget commissioner in Athens who will oversee their budget, set taxes, it is quite frankly an affront to democracy, the oldest democracy in the world, and if I was in Athens at the moment, I'd be out on the streets demonstrating as well. But
Greece is crucial to all of this. Even yesterday, Prime Minister says they were on the edge of bankruptcy. Surely it's important for everyone to rally behind Greece and throw money at the problem in order for the rest of the eurozone to survive.
If we were good Europeans, we'd allow Greece to fall out of the euro altogether. But look, this is not about economics. A couple of months ago, Nigel Farage, my party leader, met with Angela Merkel at a Council of Presidents meeting and said quite clearly to her, why won't you allow Greece to fall out of the euro? And I think her answer sums up everything. She said, we know that if Greece goes, other countries would go too. The fact is that this is a political project. It's not about economics. What would make economic sense is for Greece to come out of the euro altogether, go back onto the drachma and get its economy kick-started.
What about the idea of fiscal control, though? Is that the right way forward, to stop those profligate countries overspending and misusing their expenditure and tax revenue? I mean, that is surely the way forward. Isn't that the right route to take?
I think it's an affront to democracy, and the scary thing here that you have is once you start tinkering with democracy and trying to change things, I think you're on a very slippery slope indeed. And what's happening at the moment over here is that the EU is really showing its teeth. It's showing what it's all about. It doesn't want to listen to the people. What they're doing at the moment in the building behind me is they're talking about an intergovernmental agreement, and this will go into primary EU law through secondary legislation, which means that the people can be bypassed. There won't be referendums across the continent, particularly in Ireland, where there should be a referendum on this. And what will happen is they will bypass the people, and it will go straight into EU law, and they will get exactly what they want, and it is a complete affront to democracy.
But affront to democracy, we're seeing democracy happening right at the moment, aren't we? In Brussels, under your very nose, where we're seeing a general strike happening and protests. Surely we're going to see more, as been promised, in the future. Governments will have to listen to the people, won't they?
Well, I'd like to think so, and I'd like to see referendums right across Europe on this issue, particularly in my own country, where David Cameron is performing a U-turn today. There was a veto, or so-called veto, back in December, where he said that the EU institutions couldn't be used because this isn't a treaty, it's an intergovernmental agreement. He's now gone back on that, and this whole intergovernmental agreement will have the use of the EU institutions, including the Court of Justice, including the European Commission. Again, this is typical EU at work. It's all backroom deals, it's smoke and mirrors, and quite frankly, it is an affront to democracy, because the deals which are being taken back in the building behind me are quite frankly an attempt to bypass the people of Europe.
Talking about all those backroom deals, what about the stress and the tensions we're seeing between union members there, Greece and Germany, for example? Politicians falling out over this, that's not exactly helpful, is it?
It's only going to get worse. I mean, at the moment, they're burning German flags on the streets of Athens. I predict it will be Rome next, and then Lisbon. You never know, it could be Dublin as well. The tensions between the countries, and particularly between the north of Europe and the south of Europe, is only going to get greater. And what you've got is you've got protest in the south, and what we're seeing in the north is a political revolution where new parties are springing up, and eurosceptic parties are getting better results than ever before.
Paul Nuttall, thank you very much for your views. Member of the European Parliament from the UK Independence Party there in Brussels. Thanks.